In the past few days, there have been a lot of talks regarding the new charter agreement between the teams in NASCAR. 23XI Racing's team owner, Denny Hamlin, has been very vocal about these negotiations. But what they did now was absolutely brutal. NASCAR had initially given all the teams a deadline that expired last Friday to sign the new charter agreement. However, 23XI Racing has decided that it's in their best interest to skip that deadline. This was a shocking move by the team and has now put their future in doubt. 23XI Racing claims it did not have an opportunity to fairly bargain. But you have every opportunity to join one of the best NASCAR communities in the world. Just hit that subscribe button and we'll do the rest. Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan entered into a partnership and started the 23XI Racing team, which made its debut in 2021. Since then, the team has expanded into 2 charters and could extend to a 3rd. But for that to happen, they need to sign the new charter agreement. The team released the following statement. 23XI decided to not meet a NASCAR-imposed deadline last night to sign charter agreements for its 2 car for 2025 to 2031. 23XI's position, as stated in a letter to NASCAR, is that we did not have an opportunity to fairly bargain for a new charter contract. We notified NASCAR what issues needed to be addressed in writing at the deadline, 23XI said in its Saturday statement. We are interested in engaging in constructive discussions with NASCAR to address these issues and move forward in a way that comes to a fair resolution while strengthening the sport we all love. At 23XI Racing, we remain committed to competing at the highest level while also standing firm in our belief that NASCAR should be governed by fair and equitable practices, the team said Saturday. A few months back, Denny Hamlin made it clear what they were looking for in a new contract. They wanted permanent charters so all the teams could be more self-sufficient. In addition to this, the teams are looking for higher revenue and value of the charter. But now it seems as though NASCAR is intentionally delaying the process. Here's what Denny Hamlin said. I think for a very, very long time, NASCAR has said this is our family business, and if you don't like it, you don't have to participate, Hamlin said. I think the world has changed since that mentality was established a long, long time ago by Bill France Sr., and while I certainly respect everything they have built, and that they have done a good job, at a certain point, you have to update your thinking, or else you will hold the sport back. Healthy and viable teams is what grows sports, and you've seen a lot of money come into teams, and it propels sports forward because they all pull the rope in the same direction. The interest of the teams is the same as the league. They join up and collect their assets and sell it together. And right now, NASCAR owns this and teams own that, and we compete for the same sponsors. All we do is compete against each other instead of locking arms and grow the sport together. In my opinion, until we do that, we are just going to continue spinning our tires. Denny Hamlin wants all the teams and NASCAR to work together to grow this sport. At the moment, it seems as though teams are just competing against each other every day. There's not much respect and understanding between the teams. Right now, the teams look at each other as contenders and not partners. While the teams are competing against each other, they should also work together to build more value for the sport, to increase its value. However, the current setting of the NASCAR charter agreement does not allow them to do that. It should never have gotten to this point, but the parties involved have dragged their feet, Hamlin added. I believe this is part of NASCAR's strategy, to drag it out to the last hour and put teams in a panic situation. I don't think we're panicked. I just think we have to keep going until both sides reach a point where they feel it's in a good spot. There's rights and things we have that we deem very important that NASCAR would no longer be able to use after that date, Hamlin said. 23XI is in the racing business and we plan on racing cars, and wouldn't have invested what we would have into the sport if we didn't, so it's just a matter of whether we have charters or not, Hamlin added. Denny Hamlin believes that NASCAR is intentionally delaying the charter agreement to send the teams in a panic, so they will accept whatever is on the table. While this seems unethical, NASCAR has every right to do that. At the end of the day, NASCAR is a private organization and a family business. But as Hamlin said, the world has changed now. This mentality was established a long time ago by Bill France Sr. Now, this sort of mentality will not run in the modern world. Over the years, NASCAR has gained millions of followers and is now an international spectacle. People from all over the world travel to watch these cars take the ovals at great speeds. These fans don't come to see NASCAR govern the series. They come to see their favorite drivers and teams go around the circuit. This is why Denny Hamlin and the teams believe that they should be allowed to earn more money. One of the main things Hamlin wants NASCAR to give them is permanent charters. With permanent charters, the teams can become more independent and be responsible for their own incomes. Most of the other racing series in the world run something similar to permanent charters. In addition, Hamlin thinks that the teams deserve to get a bigger slice of the pie. Instead of assigning a fixed amount to the charters, Hamlin wants NASCAR to give a percentage of the profits, as the teams are the ones bringing in footfall for the races. So far, we haven't heard much from NASCAR. However, just a few days back, NASCAR's new president, Steve Phelps, decided to address his side of things regarding the charter negotiations. So this is one of the first opportunities I've had to talk about it, because we're not going to negotiate through the media, and we never have during this whole process, Phelps said. The teams have felt the need to do that. That's fine. Listen, do I think charters will be extended? I do. Do I think it's important that they're extended? I do. I think it's in the best interest of the sport that the charters are extended. Essentially, I won't get into what charters are selling for right now, but it's significantly more than it was 3, 4, 5 years ago, and way more than 9 years ago because they didn't exist. Although Steve Phelps did not mention the charter value, it is estimated that the charter is worth about $20 million at the moment. However, this value can increase if NASCAR permits permanent charters to the teams. Most other motorsport series have it. Phelps then continued to talk about what they had offered. "We have offered the teams more money," he said. "I won't get into what that looks like, but it is more money, because it was important to the race teams that they have more money, and we agree with that. So our proposals, for a while now, have contained more money that would go to the race teams. It's important. The additional money will be a good plus point for the teams. However, they would still prefer permanent charters." But the latest reports have suggested that NASCAR has denied the request for permanent charters and is now looking for a 7-year charter agreement. Phelps then gave an explanation as to why they're not providing permanent charters. "The charters are not franchises," Phelps said. "Stick and ball sports, you buy a franchise, but a charter is not a franchise. With a charter, you're buying a guaranteed starting spot. You're buying some known fixed revenue, and you compete for the rest of the revenue. You get some level of governance. That's what a charter is and where it stops. It's not a collective of 1/30th and representing 1/30th of the sport, and has a commissioner that makes decisions for all 30 franchises. That's the difference. But you go back to what a charter is supposed to do. Does it provide some level of governance? Yes. Does it provide some level of enterprise value? If I decide to get out of the sport, it does. Does it provide fixed and variable revenue? It does." Despite setting a deadline for last Friday, Denny Hamlin decided that it was in his team's best interest to not sign that contract. Ever since the negotiations started, Hamlin has been pretty much the only team owner who has been vocal on it. The other team members have been silently talking with Hamlin, but have never addressed anything publicly. The teams and NASCAR need to find some common ground they can agree on. But at the moment, the negotiations seem one-sided, according to Hamlin. While it is true that NASCAR has decided to pay more to the teams under the new agreement, it may not be enough. Week after week, the stadiums are filled to see superstar drivers such as Kyle Larson, Hamlin, and more race each other on track. This is why Hamlin wants the teams to get a bigger share. It's going to be interesting to see how things turn out in the coming weeks. Do you think NASCAR is treating the teams fairly in these negotiations? Post your thoughts in the comments section below.